All right, Dan. Well, I mean, I guess you got to start with the back-to-back losses, right? I mean, not the most fun thing in your career, I guess. But what's it been like dealing with it? The first time you've ever had to deal with that. So, mentally, what's it been like for you?
Not great, especially because lose another one and I'm definitely done. I changed things up a lot this preparation. I did a lot more traveling than I normally do. So we've done everything we possibly can to try and correct that. I mean, granted, I got caught by Brunson, and that last fight was a very frustrating one for me. I probably emotionally and mentally wasn't where I needed to be, which is funny considering I'm such an older athlete, still learning, still figuring out the best way to do things, and yeah. So hopefully this time everything's good to go.
I was going to ask you. I mean, you made some big changes. So you went to Thailand, right? You spent some time in Ireland as well.
Yep.
I mean, how did you reach that conclusion that that's what you needed to do?
Even the last fight, I've got a lot of extra responsibilities at home. I'm not complaining about them. Fantastic. My family, I run a gym. I'm also a national judo coach. I've got a small MMA fight team as well. And on top of that, with my own training, it was just a little bit too much for the last one. And it was more my fault not coping and managing it properly. So getting away for these periods, even though it's been really hard on the family, getting away and just being able to concentrate on getting ready for the fight has been really, really good so far.
It's tough because, I mean, fighting is kind of a selfish sport, right? I mean, there's so much that you have to do to get yourself ready, but I know how much you pride yourself on being a family man and how much you care. So has it been a sacrifice for you and difficult for you as well?
Yeah, it has been. We spoke about it very early with my wife, and we agreed that it'd been easier. It's a little bit harder. I've been away 3 weeks already, and getting towards the end now. I mean, miss all my son's soccer games and all that kind of thing. But you know what? I'm over 40 now. I'll do it for a little while longer. They know at the core I'm doing it for them anyway, and I still love the competition side of it, so it'll be fine.
So 40, you feel like an old dog can still learn new tricks? Is that right?
That's what we're trying. Well, it's the first time I've done any kind of preparation for MMA overseas, so it's been really good, and it's also validated what we do at home, because the group we have, there's myself and Jake who fight in the UFC, but everyone else it's very internal. So the fact that we're doing very similar things to what they're doing at Tiger, what they're doing at SBG, validates what we're doing and goes, okay, there's things we can add, but at the core of what we do, we're not far off the mark at all. And within our group, there's a really exciting time. We've got a guy who's fighting in Dana White's Contender Series coming up, another guy who's trying out for the current Tough House. I've got a guy fighting a UFC vet coming up. So our group's really, really strong. And in Melbourne, there's not that many guys. So very soon there'll be a few from our training group who are fighting in the top organisations.
You mentioned the fact that you want to pick up a win here, need one. You said, you'll be done if you lose. Are you assuming the UFC would be done with you, or are you saying if you lost again, you'd call it a career?
Both. With the preparation I've had, I mean, anything can happen in a fight. You can get caught. I mean, that's the nature of the sport. But if I can fight the way that I think I can and know I can, then I should win the fight. And then I can finish on my terms, finish my career on my terms. But, you've got to be realistic. I am 40. I still feel good. I'm still training well. But at some point, the story has to finish. So.
No doubt. I'm curious, fighting over here for the first time, when you accept a fight, I wonder, because I know you always talk about the fact that you need your knees wrapped, and do you go so far as to reach out to commissions and find out hey, before I say yes, I need to make sure I can take care of these knees?
Yep. So I chased the 6 different cards in March and April to double check that I could tape in all those places before hounding the poor matchmaker about getting a fight. So yeah, because if I can't tape, say for example Singapore in June, you can't tape there, so that's off the table. I had one fight where I couldn't tape, and it was a horrible experience, not just for me, for my opponent, for the fans, because I can't grapple, I can't do any of my normal stuff. So outside of that one fight, everything else, win or lose, has been reasonably entertaining.
Fantastic. Talk about the matchup here. I mean, when you get a young guy like Tom Breeze, I mean, do you enjoy that, facing a young buck and saying, kind of proving yourself a little bit, or do you go, man, I wish I could get the Machitas and Bispings of the world and that sort of thing? I mean, how do you feel when they match you up with young guys like that?
It doesn't bother me. I've dealt with both ends. I mean, Rashad, Brunson, they're both late 30s as well, and then you've got I fought Shoeface, fought Steve Montgomery, who are very young, in their mid-20s. So I'm going to get both ends. Tom's, 26. So yes, it's going to get to the stage where I'm old enough to be these guys' dads and fighting. So it's an interesting concept. But yeah, he's a really talented kid. He's been on the shelf for a little while for injury and some illness stuff. But yeah, it's going to be a really exciting challenge.
I was going to ask you, man, how do you prepare yourself for a guy that's been out that long, right? I mean, do you go back and look at tape that's 2 years old and use that as study, or do you feel like in 2 years he's probably a totally different guy?
Possibly, but I think the core of what they do is always going to come out at some point in a fight. So even though he hasn't fought for 18 months, he's still going to have good striking. His jiu-jitsu's improved and is quite good. So that kind of stuff isn't going to change. Yeah, you'll have some new tricks. Of course, they always do, but and you improve so much when you're younger as well. Like for me to get a little bit better is 5 times the work of what a younger guy is. But yeah, the core is going to be a tall, lanky striker, good jiu-jitsu. That's not going to change. So
give me an idea. I mean, is there emotion? I mean, knowing that maybe this is the last bout if things don't go the right way. I mean, does this feel special? Does it feel nerve-wracking? I mean, is there anything different this week knowing kind of what you're saying could be on the line?
No, I've made peace with it all. I want to fight. I mean, I'm excited to fight. I've been able to fight in Vegas. I wanted to fight in Europe at some point in my career. I've gotten to do that. My original aim was 10 fights in the UFC when I got signed. I mean, I got laughed at by a couple of my friends when I said that. So I've done all that, and I've had some really good wins along the way. But in reality, I want to finish at home. So I want to be able to have my kids involved because they're a little bit older now. I've been dead against them having anything to do with this, but they're a little bit older now. I'd like to have them in some involvement. Mark Hunt in Perth had his kids walk out with him to the weigh-in. Something like that would be nice. But at the end of the day, I've got to win this fight. And I mean, I get to still compete and fight at a high level at the age I'm at. I mean, I'm happy. I'm really happy, and I'm looking forward to the fight.